We are here discussing Girlfriend Season 1, Episode 14, Bad Timing. And listen, this is, side note, has nothing to do with the episode, but I'm trying out like a new kind of like hair fluff. I want my hair to be like really big and stuff. So if y'all see me fluffing it out throughout the video, please do not get irritated with me. I'm so sorry. I'm just trying to fix it, and I don't know how I'm really vibing with it yet. But anyway, back to what we're really here for, which is not my hair. It is to talk about Girlfriend Season 1, Episode 14. This is a Valentine's Day episode, and I say that to just kind of warn y'all about the messiness that is gonna, every Valentine's Day episode in Girlfriends is gonna be so messy. It's not the messiest, but like this is like a kind of like a warning for like girls about to get messy for the rest of these Valentine's Day episodes. So let's just get straight into it. We open up with William and Yvonne, and as we know, they've been dating. They are like in a full-blown relationship at this point, and not too much on them in the beginning of the episode, aside from if you dated a cop, would y'all like role play often as cops and robbers? Or like, I don't know, cop and insert any type of criminal? I'm just saying, it just seems like a obvious role play in a relationship. So we are also looking at Joan and Sean, and they've also been dating for a while. And again, as I mentioned in the beginning of the video, this is Valentine's weekend. Valentine's Day is coming up, and of course Joan's boyfriend cannot be with her, but everybody else's man, spouse, woman, person, couple, partner can be with them on Valentine's Day. And what are the odds that Jones, of course, cannot be with her on Valentine's Day? So Sean is an architect, and he has to go out of town for business. He has to go to Toronto, and I'm just like, on Valentine's Day weekend? I mean, sure. I mean, I guess like Valentine's doesn't like stop, you know, it's not like a national like non-working day, but still, I think that's different. But whatever, he has to go out of town, so they're having dinner at her house, and they, for whatever reason, came up with an agreement to not exchange gifts for Valentine's Day. What does you going out of town have to do with you not getting me a gift for Valentine's Day? If anything, I would think that means you need to give me an extra gift because you're not going to be here. So Joan, you agreed to your man not being here, and he didn't have to give you a gift for Valentine's Day? Like, what brand of Book of Sugar were you on? Because I need to know the specific type. Because what in, like, on God's green earth would make you think that that's okay? No. So she gets him a little something. Like, they literally agreed, like, they're not supposed to exchange gifts. But she gets him, like, a little très romantique little poem book or something or whatever. And, you know, he gets her nothing. And then that kind of irritates him because he's like, bro, we said we wasn't exchanging gifts. I don't understand why you still came here empty-handed. And she cooked? Like, are we supposed to be paying attention to the little bitty details of this episode? Like, was that intentional? Because I'm peeping all of this out, and honestly, Sean has to go. Like, he was not good. She cooked a dinner on Valentine's weekend. You're not going to be here for Valentine's Day. You, for whatever reason, agreed to not exchange gifts, and then you turn around and you still didn't bring a gift. You didn't even say, let's not exchange gifts, just so you don't have to give me a gift, but I'm still going to come and give you a gift, because why wouldn't I give you a gift on Valentine's Day? You didn't even pop up with flowers, roses, a card, a teddy bear, some chocolate, nothing. Empty-handed. Gave her a tape measure. You were better off not getting her a gift. That's crazy. So then we're introduced to Ava at Davis's restaurant. Ava is Davis's fiance. That sounds weird, but anyway, Ava is the fiance of Davis, and she also works at 847, and it's popping because, again, it's Valentine's weekend, so they are waiting, trying to get a table, and she comes off as like real snooty. Not a lot for Ava. So at first they didn't know who she was because they're just like, oh, it's just some hostess working in here trying to, pop off. And then Davis comes and he like introduces her to them and stuff like that. And we're kind of reminded again of that god awful time where Joan went around spreading a rumor that her and Davis slept together, and it bit her in the butt because he had a whole fiance, and it was just so like not cute. So Joan has been down in the dumps about Sean not being there for Valentine's Day, especially again because everybody is either doing something or has their man. Maya and Darnell are going to a motel. Lynn is volunteering at the suicide hotline. We're gonna come back to that too. And then of course Tony and Greg are doing something, and it doesn't matter that Tony is paying for the whole weekend. They're still doing something. So of course Joan is like in the dumps, and even William and Yvonne are like about to plan their wedding on Valentine's, not for real, but they're doing something too. So Joan is just feeling extra like this is crazy, right? So Davis pops up at the workplace to the next day to apologize for the fact that they I guess never ended up getting a table at 847 because it was just that busy. How does that work? Like, did they just go and not make a reservation and then they just couldn't get a table? And then that must have been how it worked. Because if you just pop up, obviously you don't trump somebody else's reservation. But then again, what's the point of knowing the owner? And the owner wants to sleep with you? Why wouldn't I get a table? Joan plays the game wrong. And I'm not really want to talk, but Joan plays the game wrong. You trying to get with me, and we're going to get to that later, but I can't get a table at your restaurant? So anyway, he brings her like this, I think probably her crab cakes or whatever. She loves the crab cakes. And, they're kind of like just talking about how Davis is with Ava and Joan is with Sean. And they're kind of just like, like, oh yeah, we're happy to have somebody. But they're both kind of at that moment where they're like irritated with it. Like they're both not happy with something in the relationship. It's not like 100% I'm not happy and I want to get out of it. But it's like, yeah, it could be better, and I'm gonna vent to this person right now. So they're venting to each other, child, and they fall into each other's arms. Davis been wanting to sleep with Joan. He was like that friend that you have in the back pocket that like you don't really utilize, but you keep him on the roster just in case. He's always been her just in case, but she ain't never like aside from. And surprisingly, I'm surprised she had to start a rumor that they slept together, but I don't know. He has always wanted her, right? So Davis pops up at Joan's house, after their little kiss, and he's in his feelings. He's like, babe, I can dump Ava right now. Because Joan's like, what about Ava? Like, what? We can't just keep this up. You're engaged and I'm in a relationship. And he's like, bump Ava. Let's go on a romantic rendezvous, Valentine's getaway weekend, and I'll show you what I'm about. Baby, I would have been packed. Bag, duffel bag, getaway bag, weekend bag, overnight bag, no bag, whatever. It just would have been ready to go because he's doing more than Sean doing. By the way, mind you, this whole time, Sean hasn't called her. He hasn't returned her calls or anything. He hasn't sent flowers. He hasn't sent chocolates. He hasn't sent edible arrangements. He hasn't sent anything. So she, at this point, is really fed up. Remember what I just said a couple minutes ago? Like, they're both kind of tired of whatever is happening in the world. She's irritated because she's like, I haven't heard from him, and it's Valentine's weekend. Like, you should be on the phone with me nonstop. At the inconvenience that you had to travel during Valentine's weekend, right? So she hasn't heard from him. So she's like, literally, she's 1 foot out the door of the relationship at this point. And then it doesn't help with Davis popping up at the house, right? Trying to whisk her off for a weekend, and she's ready to go. So she agrees to go. And I mean, of course, at the moment, like I said, bags would have been packed because I'm irritated with Sean and I just want to feel love right now, right? As soon as she is about to go and start packing that bag, somebody's at the door. She opened the door and it's Sean. What are you doing here? Talk about surprise with flowers in his hand. What? So apparently this was Sean's like plan this entire time. And she's just like, and of course Davis is still standing right there, and so she's like, oh, you know, he was here, but everybody was here, so it's not like just he was here and I just had him. Everybody was here. Lie. There was nobody over there. And so he leaves and he's like, okay, I'll meet you at whatever, just meet me just like in a half hour and I'll be there, right? But Sean is not stupid, so he's like, on Valentine's Day, night, weekend, whatever, he's over here in this dim lighting. So Sean's standing there with the flowers. He's trying to figure it out. You know, he's not overreacting. He's not jumping to conclusions, but he's still putting two and two together. And so, again, that was his plan. Joan is like, why haven't you returned my calls? I've been calling you all weekend. And he's like, because I was supposed to surprise you. And she's like, you shouldn't have done that. And I agree. Don't do that. Please don't do that. Because, again, I can't fault her for being ready to pack her bags in a relationship. Like, I'm out because you're leaving me high and dry. I'm not about to sit here. Because what if this wasn't your surprise and you was just being a butt and you was just being inconsiderate and not trying to talk to me, and you were like not even being in this relationship, right? And so, and then it doesn't even help the fact that he's a recovering sex addict, because her mind is like gone. Like, it's not even just the simple fact that he don't want to be with me. He's out here sleeping with everybody in Canada right now. That's where her mind went. He's like, if I would have called you, if I would have picked up, would have answered the phone, I wouldn't have been able to surprise you, right? Okay. I don't know how, because you could pick up the phone once and be like, oh, I'm busy doing this, or I love you, I miss you, I gotta go, because I gotta, and then boom, catch a flight back home. Maybe you didn't pick up the phone once, but you would have been able to pick up the phone at some point. So he's still kind of irritated, because he's like, yeah, you know, I did all this to surprise you, and you kind of just don't look like you all that happy to see me. Rightfully so, though. She is utterly confused. But I guess we have to give it to him, because he did like draw up this whole blueprint floor plan of how to fit a second bathroom. Again, he's an architect, of how to fit a second bathroom into her house, and he wanted to surprise her with that. He wanted to surprise her with the fact that he's merely here. Okay. Right, so she assures him like nothing was gonna happen between me and Davis, like nothing, like it stopped right here. I wasn't planning on doing nothing. Not true, but that's okay. Now at this moment, nothing's gonna happen. So we finally see Sean confess his feelings for her. It only took another man about to take me on a romantic rendezvous in your place before you had to do it. I had to beg you to kiss me. I had to beg you to be into this Valentine mood with me. I had to tell you first that I crave your mouth before you told me you crave my mouth. Poor Davis, because he was ready to go. Ready to go. Of course, looking back on it, it wouldn't have been a good idea. Again, Davis is still engaged. Joan is in a relationship, and after the fact, it just would have been really messy. Plus, I don't want to deal with somebody who is just so quick to up and leave his fiance for me. Like, I know that I may be all that, but I'm also not one of those that doesn't think things can't happen to them. So it's like, okay, you left your fiance for me to whisk me off. What makes you think in a few years you're not gonna get tired of me and do the same thing to somebody else that you think you feeling? It was really sudden. But we have to remember though that Davis has always been into Joan. So honestly, if it wasn't going to be Ava, it was going to be somebody else that he was going to stand up for Joan, because he has always wanted Joan. So we pause that dramatic scene to take a look at Tony and Greg and see how their romantic rendezvous is going, right? And Greg, of course, is stamped in this show as broke. Like, he can't afford to pay attention. But what he is a great artist, and he painted him and Tony on her ceiling. And I think that's just really romantic. Like when you look up in the moment of passion and you see each other. He gets brownie points. We love a romantic man, okay? Over with Lynn, she's on the suicide hotline, and she's the last person who needs to be on the suicide hotline. Lynn is the type of person that's gonna make fun of you for being on the suicide hotline. Like, so she shouldn't have been there. I don't care how many psychology degrees you have, Miss Girl. You are not qualified. Now Joan has to do damage control when she goes to 847 and basically explain to Davis like what happened. Apparently he was waiting on her for 2.5 hours at the restaurant. But again, like I said, I think they both also realized in that time that they didn't spend together, that would have been really messy. Baby, Maya would have been fired, never to be seen or heard from again. What do you mean you and your husband are doing, having relations in my office, on my desk, where I found my briefs? Fired. Benito, y'all already know. Maya, I got this much patience for Maya. This much. And that kind of stuff really irks my soul because of how much you want to bet they didn't clean up. And then William finally says he loves Yvonne, and I think that is so cute, but he's low-key still trying to fight it because he's stupid. Tony really loved Greg, like really loved Greg, because that didn't make no sense. He can't even pay for the dinner. He can't even pay for the dinner. And everybody who knows Tony Childs knows that is so unlike her to be sitting at a table with a man who can't pay for the dinner. She loved her some Greg. And then, wait, do I see Lynn in the corner of 847 with the same person she was on the phone with at the suicide hotline? Lynn, that is so like you. Hey, this wasn't Hinge.